9 seasons, 28 trophies, 1,398 goals. In a very successful Journeyman series this year, we have used just 3 tactics. And today, we're going to share all 3. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to FM with Old Man Phil. And if you are a brand new visitor, I'm Phil, and welcome to the channel. And this Journeyman Save has been quite sensational. And if we have a look at what we have done, we started off at Persib in Indonesia. We won 2 trophies while we were there. Then we moved on to Hiroshima, where we won 6 trophies, including the Asian Champions League. And then on to Sundowns, a very short stay, but we managed to win the African Champions League within a very short time. And then straight off to South America, to Coritiba in Brazil, where we took them from Serie B to eventual winners of the Copa Libertadores. It took 4 seasons, and we managed to accumulate 8 trophies along the way. And finally, our final trip to Newcastle, where we have already accomplished 8 trophies, and we have one more trophy to achieve, the European Champions League. And it is still going on. We are in pursuit of that this season, and you can join us for that. We live stream this series on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays at 8 p.m. on YouTube. So if you do want to come and see if we can achieve our final goal, then please join us. We'll be happy to have you along. But all of this we have done with just 3 tactics. And today I'm going to share those tactics with you, and you're going to be able to download them. I'll leave the links for you to download them in the description below. But always remember, you will need to adapt any tactics that you download to the personnel that you have in your squad. I don't believe there is such a thing as a plug-and-play tactic. There are good tactics, but they will always need tweaking according to what your squad can do. And if you are a brand new visitor to the channel, why not? Hit that subscribe button, click the bell, and you'll be updated when future videos are uploaded. And while you're there clicking around, why not hit that like button, because likes and comments are what drive the YouTube algorithm to push the videos out to people who've not yet seen the channel. So now, let's get straight on with it. Let's have a look at what tactics we have used. First up is the 4-1-2-2-1 high press, and this is a tactic that I developed for FM23 and then adapted when FM24 came out, and it has served very, very well, and we've won a lot of games with this particular tactic. This is the adaptation that we used when we were in Persib in Indonesia. We then played it in Hiroshima, where we won the AFC Champions League. And then we won the African Champions League at Sundowns using this particular system. And it is a very simple setup. It was designed simply by squeezing a 4-4-2 and a 4-2-3-1 together, and this is what comes out. So let's go through how we set up. And in possession, we play in a positive mentality. In possession, we play fairly narrow. We have an underlap going on the left-hand side, passing directness shorter, tempo slightly higher, work the ball into the box, and nothing else is set in the attacking play. In transition, we counter-press, counter, distribute quickly. It's a very aggressive tactic. And then out of possession, high press, high line of engagement, and a higher defensive line. Trigger press more often, prevent the short goalkeeper distribution, step up more, and stop the crosses. And for the player roles, we have a goalkeeper, a sweeper, keeper on defend, no additional instructions. And then we have on the right hand side a wing back on support. He's told to cross from the byline, run wide with the ball, shoot less often, stay wider, close down less, and mark tighter. Inside him, we have a ball-playing defender on cover. He's told to tackle harder. And then on the left-hand side, we have a ball-playing defender who is told to mark tighter. And we have a wing-back on the left, a wing-back on attack. He's told to stay wider, close down less, and mark tighter. One thing that I would say when you are using these tactics, if you are not the greatest team of all, then you might want to consider using central defenders rather than ball-playing defenders. And then moving on to midfield. In midfield, we have a deep-line playmaker on support. He's told more direct passes and tackle harder. And he is partnered by a centre mid on attack who's told to tackle harder and mark tighter. Outside on the right-hand side, we have a wing on support. He's told to cut inside with the ball. And on the left wing, we have an inside forward on support. He has no additional instructions. Just behind our forward, we have an attacking mid. On attack, he's told to roam from position and close down more. And then up top, we have an advanced forward who has no additional instructions. You can also use a pressing forward instead. That works just as well. You can also change the roles of these wingers. You can play a winger on the left and an inverted winger on the right. But I would always say, tweak the tactic always according to the personnel that you have in your squad. Most of these individual instructions are based on what the players are able to do and what they can't do. If he can't mark tighter and tackle harder, then don't have him do it. And so this was the first of the 3 tactics that we used, and very, very successful it was. We won our first 2 trophies in the goals that we had set. Moving on to tactic number 2, the Wonder Wingbacks on attack. This was a 3 at the back system, which we used in Curitiba in Brazil and managed to win the Copa Libertadores after 4 seasons. In this tactic in Brazil, we used a positive mentality. The mentality is up to you. How much risk do you want to take? But in possession, we were fairly wide, pass into space, play out of defence. Passing directness was shorter with a higher tempo, work the ball into the box and dribble less. If you have a team of good dribblers, then you don't need to have that clicked on. In transition, we were counter-pressing, counter-distribute quickly, and then out of possession, high press, higher line, trigger press much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, step up more and stop crosses. This again was a particularly aggressive tactic and it worked really well, and we scored a lot of goals using this one, and the wing backs in particular were outstanding using this tactic. In terms of the player roles, we have a sweeper keeper on defend. He was told to take fewer risks. And on the right-hand side of the 3 centre-backs, we have a wide centre-back on defend, told to take fewer risks, dribble less, shoot less often, tackle harder, and mark tighter. Inside him is a ball-playing defender on cover, told to shoot less often. We have another wide centre-back on defend, on the left-hand side, told to tackle harder and mark tighter. The first wing-back on the right is a wing-back on attack, told to dribble less, shoot less often, and close down less. And the wing-back on the left, just told to close down less. Inside those, we have a pivot of 2. We have a DLP on defend. He's told to take more risks, tackle harder, and mark tighter. And then inside him, on the left, is a Segunda Volante on attack, told to mark tighter. We have an attacking midfield up top on attack. He is told to take more risks, dribble more and roam from positions. And then up front we have a false 9 on support, told to roam from position. And then alongside him we have an advanced forward on attack with no additional instructions. We used this very, very successfully throughout our time at Curitiba, and we scored a lot of goals, and the wing-backs were particularly impressive. And then finally, moving on to the tactic we've employed at Newcastle. It is a 4-2-2-2, narrow vertical tiki-taka, and we play with a positive mentality. In possession, we play fairly narrow, pass into space, play out of defence. Passing directness is shorter with a slightly higher tempo, low crosses, work the ball into the box, and everything else is left off. And in transition, we don't counter-press, but we counter-distribute quickly and out of possession. We play with a mid-block, generally, with a standard line. Trigger press more often, step up more, and stop crosses. You can use any of these tactics in whichever block you want. You can use it with a high press, you can use it with a mid-block, or you can use it with a low block. All of them will work very effectively, and I've used all 3 blocks in this particular part of the save to win the trophies that we've won with Newcastle. In terms of the player roles, very, very straightforward. We have a sweeper keeper on defend with no additional instructions. On the right-hand side, a wing-back on attack, cross more often, sit narrower, close down less and tackle harder. The wing-back on the left is told to cross more often, sit narrower, close down less and tackle harder. The 2 central defenders, a ball player on cover, he's told to tackle harder and mark tighter. Ball playing defender on the left on defend, he is told to dribble more, tackle harder, and mark tighter. Again, if you don't have very good defenders, I would suggest toning those down a bit and maybe using central defenders or even a no-nonsense centre-back. In front of them, we have an anchor, and he is given no additional instructions. Alongside him is a volante on attack. He's told to shoot less often and tackle harder. Up front at attacking midfield on the left, we have an attacking midfielder on support, told to take more risks, dribble more, roam from position, and move into channels. And alongside him is an attacking mid on attack, told to roam from position. Up front, we had 2 advanced forwards with no additional instructions. Remember, though, again, tweak these player instructions according to what your players can or cannot do. Don't ask them to cross more often if they can't cross the ball. Don't ask them to dribble more if they can't dribble. You always need to adapt a tactic these days. There's no such thing as a plug and play tactic, and this is a very attacking tactic, and generally playing a vertical tiki-taka like this, you will need to have a very good team in order to use this one, but it can be used in a low block with teams that are not so good, and that applies to all the tactics. In fact, in the Ipswich live stream that we are doing, we've reverted back to the 4-1-2-2-1 for their first seasons in the Prem, but we are going to play with a low block, and so all of these tactics are pretty adaptable, and whatever team that you have, if you tweak it well, you can use these tactics and get great results with them. And so that's it for this video. I just wanted to share these tactics with you. And if you are, as I've said before, brand new to the channel and you like FM content, then why not hit that subscribe button, click the bell, and you'll be updated when we upload future videos. And while you're there clicking around, why not hit that like button? Because likes and comments are what drive the YouTube algorithm to push the video out to people who've not yet seen the channel. The links for all the tactics will be in the description below. And all that remains to be said now is take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.